All right. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode to Nisha's Reading Corner podcast. So, I wanted to come on here just early before the intro and just say thank you for tuning in again. But also, we are the podcast is celebrating 10 episodes. My goodness. It has been a wonderful journey and I want to continue with it. I'm currently out of town right now, so this is a brief little episode. It's actually an episode rewind. This is a top 7 benefits of reading daily. So we're going to do an episode rewind. Then I'll come back next week with a brand new episode. So I thank you again for tuning in and I hope you enjoy. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Tanisha's Reading Corner podcast. I am your host, Tanisha. Tanisha's Reading podcast is dedicated to anyone who desires to make reading a daily habit as a form of self-care. To stay updated when a new podcast is uploaded, please subscribe to the channel. In addition, you can find me on Instagram at Tanisha's Reading Corner for many book recommendations and tips and tricks on how to keep reading a daily habit. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello again, and welcome to the first episode of Tanisha's Reading Podcast. This has been a passion project of mine for many years, and it's finally come to pass, and it's incredibly satisfying to finally be here. Well, for starts, why a reading podcast? Of all the podcasts to do, why one about just reading? As a daughter of a language arts teacher, reading was drilled into me at a very young age. Even in the summertime, my mom would get us up early in the morning on the same time that we would normally be ready for school, and she'd have a stack of books and of reading things that we had to do, and we had to read them. We had to do summaries of them. So, yeah, and that is actually a habit that I continue to this very day. During the summer, I make a list of all the books that I want to read, and I get through as many as I can. And yeah, I'm constantly uploading and updating my reading list with new books, all types of genres, romance, horror, mystery, murder mystery. I'm actually getting more into murder mysteries as I'm getting older. I might be getting more cynical. But anyway, but however, as I have been getting older, it's been harder to keep up with the habit as I graduated from high school, went to college, got into the workplace. Day-to-day living, it's kind of hard to find those moments when you just stop and rest and find a little corner to sit in and just read. So this past year, that has been one of my goals, to get back into that habit of reading. And I made it my mission to get back into that reading habit, even if it's only 15 minutes a day. It's better than nothing, because I've noticed that when I don't actually read something of fiction or whatnot, I am a very unpleasant person to be around. I'm cranky, I'm sad, I just don't really like to be around people. And that's because I'm not taking the time out to take care of myself. And honestly, I think that's something that a lot of people are dealing with nowadays. And just in doing research and coming up with this reading podcast, I found out there are so many benefits to reading. So, the title of today's episode is called The 7 Benefits of Reading. So let's dive in. Benefit number 1, reading calms us down. Literally, there is research studies to prove that. In 2009, the University of Sussex shows us that reading was the best way to overcome anxiety and stress. In fact, it can decrease stress up to 68%. Reading, they show, that was even better than going for a walk or listening to music. So how they conducted the experiment and proved this was to monitor a participant's heart rate and tension, and saw it only took 6 minutes for the readers to ease tension once they began reading. So next time you're stressed out, pick up a book and read. So, benefit number 2, books help us tap into our imaginations, and that impacts our day-to-day creativity. As we read, we are transported into different worlds where we can soar above the clouds or dig for treasure in the deepest caves. And in doing this, looking into the main character's thought process gives us better critical thinking skills and communication skills that we can use in our day-to-day lives. Which brings us to point number 3, benefit number 3. Fiction, especially bodies of fiction, increases our ability to empathize with others. By investing in any fictional character makes us more readily able to actively identify those same scenarios that they go through in others. And also this helps us to push past our assumptions and also stereotypes that we placed upon others. Benefit number 4, reading helps with sleep. I'm a person who suffers from bouts of insomnia where no matter how hard I try, I just cannot get to sleep, or if I do get to sleep, I can't stay asleep. But one thing that I have noticed is that, oftentimes on nights when I'm just, sitting in front of the TV for long hours at a time and then trying to go to sleep, I can't fall asleep. But when I read a book, turn off everything, the cell phone, the laptop, the tablet, the TV, and just open up a good book and read for like 15, 20 minutes, I can put that book down, turn off the lamp, and go to sleep, fall asleep, and I stay asleep. And I think mainly that's because when we watch TV, it gives our brain way too much stimulation and thus makes it harder to turn off. So that's why adding about 15, 20 minutes of reading to your evening routine, that helps the body to naturally de-stress. And when we naturally de-stress, we're much better and easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. All right, benefit number 5, reading improves our vocabulary. One practice I like to do is have a reading journal. A reading journal is basically something I like to have when I'm reading. Kind of simple, but yeah. So basically, it's a journal that I write in notes, and I write in character plots, and I'm writing reoccurring themes and motifs. So that way, I'm actively reading, is what I like to call this. So I'm taking what I'm reading and I'm putting it into use. So that way, it helps to improve my just fuller understanding of the text and what is really speaking to me. In future podcasts, I will definitely go into more depth about this, but for the sake of this benefit, how this aids in improving our vocabulary is that when I come across a word that I'm not familiar with or I don't know, I go pause on the reading, grab the dictionary, look up the word, I write that word down in my reading journal, I write the definition of it in my reading journal, and then that way I can go back to the text and be like, okay, that's what this means. And in doing so, that just improves our overall vocabulary and just makes us more smarter. Which brings us to number 6, reading strengthens the brain. Seriously, reading is a constant way to engage the nerves in our brain to improve memory, concentration, and may even help us live longer. Which is true, there is research behind this as well. But actually, on the very next episode, episode 2, I will dive into this further. I'm going to do more research. And so that episode, I'm going to already give the title for that one, is going to be Reading and the Brain. So, yeah, because there has been so much research and studies done on this that's a whole podcast by itself. And it's truly extraordinary. So finally, benefit number 7. The last reason why reading is a great form of self-care, because it's just fun. I mean, just personally, I love reading, and that's why I'm doing a whole podcast on this. That's why I buy books every other week, and I keep reading because I love it. The euphoria I get when reading and just getting a new book, it's everything to me. My whole room right now that I'm looking around, because that's why I'm recording this podcast, it's full of books that I've read, won't give away, don't ask me to, not going to. It's like part of my family. Like, I can't give that away. And it's also full of books that I haven't read yet, but I'm going to read. It's on the list. And then there's a stack of books I just bought that's being added to the list. And the list just keeps getting longer. Yeah, all my friends, especially when I was in college, all my friends were going to the club every other week, and I was going to the bookstore and getting another book. Yes, I was that girl that when everyone else was clubbing, I'm like, when my friends would drag me to the club, I'd be like, I just want to go home and read a book. I don't want to be out right now. So, to recap, 7 benefits of reading. Number 1, it reduces stress. Number 2, it taps into creativity. Number 3, gives us the ability to empathize with others. Number 4, helps with sleep. 5, improves vocabulary. 6, strengthens our brains. And 7, is just overall fun. These benefits are the reasons why I wanted to create this podcast, because I want to create something that guides other people into making reading a daily habit. This is for book lovers or newfound book lovers to get into that habit. And in upcoming episodes, what we can look forward to, what you, the listener, can look forward to, is I will be giving tips and tricks on how to keep reading as a daily habit. Discussing the research behind reading and how it improves our lives, and also giving book reviews on books that I am currently reading that you can add to your reading lists. And you know what? I would like to end each podcast with a quote. And so today's quote is from Frederick Douglass. Once you learn to read, you will forever be free. And with that, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to Tanisha's Reading Corner. If you loved what you heard, like to hear more, please leave a review so that other book lovers like yourself can find this podcast as well. Until next time, wishing you good wellness and